If I was the chairman of the Mass Republican Party, I would get together with everybody and say, we're going to take 2 years off. You got good people out there sticking their necks out. There are good people out there spending their money. And at the end of the day, it's a losing battle because people are going to vote for that Democrat no matter what. Now let's look at what happened nationally. The Republican Party showed solidarity, voted against these two major pieces of legislation that have turned out to be not only flops, but the public are so much against them that it ended up throwing out a whole bunch of Democrats. I think at some point Massachusetts should just give the people in the state what they want. They love Democrats. Let them have all Democrats, because then they own the economy. Then they own the schools. They own the social issues. They own the legacy costs in dealing with all the unions. They own it all. And at that point, give the people a clear choice. Unfortunately, that's what that had to be done nationally. I think that's what needs to be done in the state level. I would just tell the Republicans, let's just take a couple of years. Let's really get our act together. Let's let them people in Massachusetts say, it's not like we're quitting. But why?
It's a hiatus.
But why sacrifice? I mean, we offer up. How many times do in our closed circles, talking politics in Massachusetts, that we're talking about certain districts where we offer up sacrificial lambs?
Right.
Why do that? Why discourage future potential candidates when they know they don't have a shot because people are going to keep voting for the Democrat anyway? Well, let's let the people of Massachusetts see just how bad it could really be, and then offer them an alternative. That's what happened nationally, and look at what happened in 2010.
Interesting thought.
That's only me.
Well, when it comes to our national chairman, Michael Steele, do you think that this success of 2010 is going to secure him for another term this coming, it's either probably January, February, March, the next election for a national chairman? Can he take any credit for what happened, or is it just we got successful in spite of Michael Steele?
I think we lucked out in spite of what Michael Steele did.
So
there were rumblings for a long time about the fact that you had these big donors that wanted to donate lots of money to the Republican Party. All it would have taken was a phone call. He wouldn't even call them on the phone. There were certain elements of the Republican Party nationally that were totally dysfunctional because I think, like a lot of the state committee people here, like a lot of for example, our state chairperson, they're just in Massachusetts.
Yes, Virginia.
They're just doing it for them. And I'll be perfectly blunt. These people like being able to go to the country clubs and go to their little parties and say, I am a state chairperson for the Mass Republican Party. They want to be accepted. And that's why they will take views that don't match with the views of conservatives or just mainstream Republicans. They're going to side with the fringe on the left because they want to be accepted. They want to keep being invited to the parties. And they don't do what's in the best interest of the party. And they end up electing chair people who may need a job, as in the case of Peter Torkelson, or someone who's different, but still, I mean, when you have Jennifer Nassar reaching out to bay windows, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can say you want to reach out to blacks, you want to reach out to gays, but you know something, at the end of the day, they're not going to vote for us in 100 years. Why give them fodder to use against our own candidates? They do it every time. So I think it's time to do something totally different. Totally different. Now, I can talk this cheap talk because I don't live here. I mean, I live in Athol. I have a place in Athol, but I spend most of my time in Virginia. I see a totally different attitude in Virginia.
And the question is, the district that you live in Virginia, this congressman, Republican or Democrat?
Because I do so much work nationally, I don't even know. Jerry Connolly was the congressman there, Democrat. Now there was a guy by the name of Fimian, and I can't remember his first name, and I even went to a debate
Right.
between the two. And Fimian was a little aloof, but he was a business person who made a run. I don't know who won between the two of them. But again, in Virginia, and what I would love to see here in Massachusetts, if people want to see things get done, I mean, nationally, for example, I think the economic growth number nationally is somewhere around 0.6%, very low. You know what it is in Northern Virginia, where we live? Because of the federal government and all the businesses that have to support them, it's about 6.7% annual growth. A lot of it is also because there's divided government. When politicians realize that their job is on the line, they have to produce.
Because we discussed that in your previous visit, that your 3 constitutional officers that are elected by the people, they are all Republicans, but your legislature, one, I believe the Senate had a Democrat majority, and the House, or it's called the House of Delegates,
House of Delegates
was a Republican majority, but in your congressional district's going to have a very different look come January, because it was previously 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans. It's going to be 8 Republicans and 3 Democrats. Now, Virginia went through a real facelift.
Yeah, and that's again because when you make politicians feel safe, they don't produce, and because of D.C., there's a whole other dynamic because people, for the most part, have jobs. They want to keep them. They want to keep their standard of living. So they're not going to monkey around too much with social engineering and feel-good politics. There is a serious illegal alien problem. In fact, there was the story that happened nationally where a illegal alien was driving drunk and he killed a nun.
I believe it was in the news.
And unfortunately, it takes stories like that to bring prominence to an issue. But it was funny, when I moved to D.C., I noticed immediately the climate of an acceptance of illegals. And it reminded me a lot of Los Angeles, where we live too. And what do Los Angeles and D.C. have in common? Lots of liberals. They do call D.C. Hollywood for ugly people. Okay? And when you have people who are accepting of people breaking the law, then you'll have more people come to that area. I did a poll on my website, black-right.com, and I asked, what does the country need? Comprehensive immigration reform or comprehensive immigration enforcement? Enforcement, I think, one, is still at 100%.
Okay.
Because you have all these people going around screaming and hollering, we need to have immigration reform. See, that's going to be the next thing. In the lame duck. Are they going to pass? Are the Democrats going to try to ram through the DREAM Act? Are they going to try to ram through some kind of amnesty and try to get it through because they know when the Republicans are in power, it's never going to happen? So getting back to Massachusetts, we have to, at some point, give the people a clear option. And and unfortunately, you're going to have to disgust people. And you do it in the way that it was done nationally. And we'll get back to Michael Steele because I've definitely gone full circle. But people have to see, as in the case with health care reform, as in the case with the stimulus, when liberals and driven by policies that involve social justice, makes people want to feel good, it doesn't work that way because you take away incentives, you take away the desire of people to do the right thing because they know the government's going to be a backstop for you. So you have to show people, in sometimes the most harsh terms, what the alternative is, and let them have all the social programs. And you see what happened in 2010. You got to do the same thing here in Massachusetts. It's not going to happen, but it's unfortunate that every 2 years, you look at the results. You got good people running, and they hit the wall, and people will vote against their interests. You got towns going broke.
Right.
It's going to get rough here in Massachusetts too, because the last 2 years, you had a Congress that would supplement Medicare, so you wouldn't see how bad mass health is. And now that's all going to dry up. The federal government's not going to be as friendly to the state of Massachusetts or the state of California that need what they 40 billion in the hole yearly. You can't sustain that. I don't know what the debt number here in Massachusetts is, but you can't. This state can't sustain it with everybody leaving, like people are leaving California.